What's going on, guys? It's the Filthy Casual, back with another Diablo 3 video. Today I thought we'd have a little fun and I'll give you my opinion as to which class is going to have the fastest start for Season 17. You're probably thinking, Filthy, why are you chatting Season 17? We've still got just under a month left to go the current one. Well, the reason is that the rumour doing the rounds is that Season 17 is going to be flipped and start only a few days after the end of Season 16. So the date that I've heard is the 17th of May. I'll be very clear, it's just a rumour, there's no confirmation from Blizzard, but it wouldn't surprise me because Memorial Day is coming up in America, and that's kind of why people are saying, look, it's going to be the 17th. But anyway, even if that's not true, if you're anything like me, your mind wanders to the next season fairly early, and I just can't stop thinking about this LOM buff, Season 17, so I thought, sod it, I'll make a video and we'll see where we go. Welcome to anybody who's new, who's joined the channel over the PTR and over the last couple of weeks. The journey's been amazing, all the love has been brilliant, so if you've taken the time to subscribe or like any of the videos or drop me a comment, thanks so much, it really does mean a lot to me. Now I have done a previous video on the sets that you get, the transmog, the pet, all that kind of thing, so if you want to check that out, it's in the cards and it's in the description. I'll mention the sets as we go, but it's not going to be like an in-depth review. It's going to be an opinion piece, so this is how I feel about things. Now, being realistic, I like some classes better than others, I like some sets and some classes better than others, so you know, my biases will creep into this. I do like Necro, I do like Barb, maybe I'm going to give them a bit of an easy ride, but if you guys watch this, if anybody can offer any help, any suggestions, pull me up on anything that's wrong or anything that you think might sway people one way or the other, jump in with the comments. It's supposed to be a discussion video, so you know, whack them in there. Now, what we're going to cover is we're going to cover three categories. So we're going to do 1 to 70, how each class will perform in that kind of period of the game, starting off fresh, going all the way up to level 70. The next category is going to be once you hit 70 up to Paragon 400, around about the GR 70 and Primal Unlock stage, so going through your 2-piece, your 4-piece and up to your 6-piece, and a little bit sort of past 6-piece. And then the final category is going to be Paragon 400 to Paragon 800, and that's going to be when you may be shifting off the Hadrig bag, you're going off to do a few other things, and realistically once you get past Paragon 800 you're going to be into your end game content and working out your final builds. So I thought they're the three categories that I want to have, so we'll start with a few assumptions before we jump into it. Assumption 1 is that you're going to do a challenge rift bag, so you can have access to blood shards and also to crafting mats and death's breath. But the second assumption is that a change is going to be made for 265, which was on the PTR, and that change was that challenge rifts now gave 35 DBs rather than 10. Now that's awesome, because what it means is you can craft a level 70 item, you can then upgrade it in the cube and extract the power, so you'll have access to either a weapon, you know, a piece of jewellery or whatever it is that you want to go for. Now for two classes in particular this is going to make a massive difference, but for the rest it's going to be RNG based. You might get something out of it, you might not. So things like that are going to factor into it. So I think we'll jump in and we'll go through as if we were going to create a new hero. So let's start with the 1 to 70. Now 1 to 70 I kind of view it as like the trailers when you go to watch a really cool film. You know you want to see the film, you know it's going to be good. The trailers, you enjoy them, but they're not why you went, and that's kind of how I feel about 1 to 70. I like doing the process, I like finding the legendaries, but being realistic, I just want to get to 70 as quickly as I can so I can start opening up my build and progressing through the content. Now Barb, I'm going to give 7 out of 10. Barb's got some pretty good braces that you can roll, so you can get a multiplier pretty much guaranteed on either Seismic Slam or Hota. You can also get loot socks for extra mobility, and they'll go really nicely with the Might of the Earth set that you're going to get later on. So Barb can be quite mobile, and it can have a pretty big multiplier, albeit massacre bonusing's not that easy. You can use rend, you can put weapon throw on, so you know you can do it to the best of your abilities, but because you don't have any pets it is a little bit harder. Now Crusader, I'm going to give Crusader 6, because I think it's a little harder than Barb. Yeah, you can get you multiplier on the shield, so you can get Guard of Johanna, or you can get a denial, so you do have a multiplier, but I just feel that it's not quite as easy to level with the Crusader, it's just a bit slower, so I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Now Demon Hunter, I normally find this to be the hardest class, or one of the hardest classes to level in the game, because it is quite tough to pick up a multiplier. There's nothing you can really roll for at level 1 that will give you a good kick. Now that's where this DB change that I mentioned earlier really comes into play, because what you can do at level 1 is, if you rank your artisan, your blacksmith, all the way up to max level, you can then craft a level 70 dagger and stick it in the cube and upgrade it. Now the Demon Hunter's only got 2 options. You've got the Fan of Knives dagger, or you've got the Impale dagger. Either one would be absolutely awesome. You can cube it and you can have a multiplier throughout your whole leveling process. So that, coupled with the fact that you can stick sentries down, you can have your teleport based on resource rather than on a cooldown. I'm going to give the Demon Hunter 8 because I think you're going to be pretty decent at leveling. Monk, I'm going to give a 8 as well, because again it's a pretty mobile class. It's a bit easier to get multipliers. You can get the Lashing Tail Kick boots, for instance. You can get Pinto's Pride or other braces that will give you a good buff. It is quite a quick class. Got some good abilities, some good passives. So Monk, I've always found, has been a fairly decent one to level. So I'm going to give Monk 8 out of 10. Necro, I think Necro is going to be the fastest to level this season. I'm going to take some stick for being a Necro fanboy probably, but I'm going to give it 10. The reason is you've got pets, so massacre leveling is really easy. You're going to get a multiplier when you roll for your Grasp of Essence gloves, so when you kill stuff you'll get corpses, you'll be able to blow them up with corpse explosion. And Necro gets tremendous value out of this extra DBs in the challenge rift bag, because you can roll 2-handed scythes and get a guaranteed multiplier. Any of the 4 will do, they will be really good. Or you could even maybe go for a Phylactery and try and pick something up. So I think you can have a guaranteed multiplier in your weapon slot, guaranteed one in your armor slot, and with all the pets, massacre bonusing to a fairly high level, I think is going to be quite easy with the Necro. So I think it's going to be the quickest class to get to 70. Witchdoctor traditionally is the king of massacre leveling. You've got horns, you've got locust swarm, you've got pets to deal damage. So I'm going to give the Witchdoctor a 9. I think it's going to be pretty strong, just behind Necromancer, just because the multipliers aren't going to be quite the same. You can get a Gazing Demise offhand, so I would be rolling for that at level 1, but it's still not got quite the same punch as the Necro, albeit it is going to be very quick. So that would be a very quick start up to 70. Wizard, I'm going to give joint last place with the Crusader. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. Again, it's just an issue with multipliers, because I know that for all these other classes I can get a multiplier. So maybe it should be 5 out of 10 really. Yeah, let's give Wizard 5, because it should be lower than Crusader. So Wizard, we're going to give 5 because there are no multipliers. You can use your 25 DBs, and if you get good RNG you can get a multiplier, and Wizard would certainly be shooting up there much quicker. But wands, there are a lot of useless wands in the pool. There's a lot of useless sources, a lot of useless wizard hats. So really, you're rolling the dice. So I think 1 to 70, definitely the Necro is going to be the winner. And yeah, 10 out of 10 for Necro. So once you get to 70 and you're looking to start getting your 2-piece or putting an LON build together, we'll go through the classes again. So Barb, I think, is going to be 7, because I think the 2 and 4-piece of the Might of the Earth are fairly decent. But I think Barb struggles because it's not the quickest class. The leap is fine, it is quite a good mechanic, you can cover quite a lot of distance as you bounce around the map, but it's not quite got the same move speed as like a Necro with 100% move speed for your Stuart's Greaves. You haven't quite got the same teleport that Monk and Demon Hunter have. Witchdoctor's mobile, Wizard's mobile. It's just a fairly slow class. So whilst I think once you get your 6-piece, you'll be doing really good damage, you'll be flying through content, your GR70 clear will be really easy with the Barb. Getting keys, I think, is a bit more of the issue. That's where I think you're going to struggle. Now, I have made a speed build for Might of the Earth, so I'll stick that in the cards and in the description. You can go check that out if you want. But as I say, it's going to be a bit difficult to get keys, so that's why I'm going to give it a 7. Crusader is going to be a bit of a similar story. Its Invoker is really powerful, the 2-piece is powerful. You get Thorns as a natural roll on all the pieces, so you will be doing high GR content very quickly. Again, GR70 is not going to be an issue. You'll be very tough because you don't need any crits on any of your gear, so that's nice. But again, I personally haven't really found any sort of Thorn speed builds. I haven't come across many, haven't really played any. So, you know, any Crusader players who know how to speed farm with Thorns very quickly, drop it in the comments. But I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because, again, I just think getting keys is going to be the issue for the Crusader. Demon Hunter, definitely the quickest, 10 out of 10. The 2-piece from the Shadow set is bonkers. It's 6,000% if you hold a melee weapon. You can get a guaranteed dagger, as we discussed earlier, so 6,000%. To put that in context of LON, it's like having 8 ancient items equipped straight out the gate, your 2-piece. Shadow in general as a set is very strong, so you're going to rocket through this 0 to 400 Paragon very quickly, and you're going to be able to bust out your GR70 again very quickly. So Shadow definitely gets 10 for that. Monk, I'm going to give 6. Now, you might be thinking why. Samuku is a very strong set. I think it is, but only really when you get up to the 6-piece. The 2 and the 4-piece aren't particularly great. You've also got to find the corresponding weapons that match to it. You know, once you get your Vengeful Wind, it's a huge power jump. So you are a bit reliant on RNG. If you find it early, you'll rocket through this very quickly. But if you don't find it that quickly, you will kind of be fanning around a little bit with the Monk. So again, once it gets set up, it is really quick, but up until that point, I think this stage of the game, it probably will lag behind unless you get really good RNG. So I'm going to give the Monk 6. For Necro, I'm going to go 8, and again, you're probably thinking, Necro fanboy, what are you talking about? Inarius is garbage, and I would tend to agree with you. It's fairly strong up until, I don't know, about T10 maybe, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to basically be looking for ancient items, and I'm going to be using Singularity. I'll be going back to level 1, rolling an alt, and getting some items that will buff the skeletal mages, and I'll basically be looking to find 1, 2, 3 ancient items, and really pumping everything into mages. So I think Necro, for this early part of the game, provided your RNG isn't terrible, you'll get access to some ancients fairly quickly. You know, you'll probably be able to get one pretty much straight away at level 70, which I'll put that in my Necro leveling guide. And you know, I think it's going to be quite a fast start because you've got so many multipliers with the Necro that all you really need is that 1 or 2 ancient items, and you'll be jumping yourself up very quickly through the torments. Witchdoctor, I'm going to go 9. The 2-piece for Jade deals tremendous damage. It's like a little kind of bomb that you detonate. You click Haunt twice and it blows the enemy up. The 6-piece of Jade is so strong. It's really quick. Again, GR70 is absolutely no problem. I've just done it on this season with around about 300 Paragon, crappy rolled gear, and you just literally first try, no problem at all. So Jade's going to be really strong. It's going to be very quick. So for this piece, this part of this category, I'm going to give Jade a 9. Wizard, sorry Wizards, I'm going to have to say you're not very good again. You're going to get 6 out of 10. The Firebird 2-piece is absolutely worthless. It's a cheat death. The 4-piece fine, you do start to add damage. The 6-piece, it's difficult to use because it deals so much damage that as soon as you ignite an elite with it, you pretty much vaporize it. And then the problem is that you then lose your damage buff and you lose your toughness buff. So it's a bit of a frustrating build to play. Now, maybe the Chantoto set, once you get that, will save that and you'll be able to do, you know, higher level content. But again, you're back onto needing to find specific weapons to make the build work. So I think for this kind of phase, unless you get decent RNG, it's probably going to be towards the back of the pile. But again, obviously it depends as to how the Firebird set pans out with Chantotos. Now, the last category that I'm going to go for is the 400 to 800 range, and this is kind of with all your bits, you know, together, your GR70 cleared. So Barb, I'm going to give 7. Again, I think if it was just Greater Rifts I was measuring this on, I'd give it 10. Might of the Earth is really strong. You will be smacking GR80, 85 around very quickly. You know, I think even once you get up to the very end of this process, 800 Paragon, you might even be able to do 95 or 100, but getting keys is going to be your problem. It's just quite slow. I think you're going to have to put Charge Barb together probably to do some key farming. So with that in mind, I'm only going to give Barb a 7, which is a bit of a shame. I like Might of the Earth, it's my favourite set. I think if we were sticking at T13, I probably would score this higher, but I think T16 for some of the speed farm builds for the Barb is going to be a bit difficult, but we'll just have to see when we get there. Crusader, I'm going to give 8 because I think the Invoker set is really strong, really tough and tanky, and can go very far. And I also think that by this point you might also have been able to swap to a Lon build, so you might have found the Blessed Shield, weapon and offhand, and that's going to be crackers strong. Even with only like 4 or 5 ancients, you're going to be dumping down loads of damage. So I'm going to give Crusader an 8 out of 10. Plus you'll also be able to use the Sage set very easily once you put in a Calm build together, so that's something interesting. Demon Hunter, got to be a 10. Shadow is easy to play, easy to set up, and you'll be doing GR 90 plus very quickly, and it's such a strong set. It's got to be 10 out of 10 for the Demon Hunter. Monk, again 10. At this point you're going to have all your RNG issues with the Monk ironed out. You're going to have your Samwuku weapons, you're going to be dealing tons of damage, and you will be flying through content. You'll be getting keys really quickly, so the Monk I'm going to give a 10 out of 10. Necro I'm going to give 8 because Necro is going to be a little dependent on RNG. If you find all your items early doors to get a LON Singularity build up and running, you would be flying through content. Again, like Demon Hunter, like Monk, probably graded at 10. But you do need the ancient items, so you're probably going to have to go out your way to do some bounties. That's going to slow you down a bit. So the decision to dump an Arius early doors made some progress, and now it's probably going to come back and bite you a little bit, because you're going to have to be taking time out to do bounties, to do re-rolls, to complete your LOM build. So 8 out of 10 for the Necro. Witchdoctor I'm going to give 9. Jade's really strong and really quick. I think it's probably not quite as quick as Monk and Demon Hunter, so it's just going to be in that little bracket down for a 9 out of 10. But it's really powerful, a ton of fun to play and very easy. It's 9 out of 10 for the Witchdoctor. And then for the Wizard, I'm going to give 8, and that is just purely because I think ultimately you're going to be desperately trying to swap off Firebirds. You're going to be wanting to get onto Vias, maybe even Towels, or possibly even an LOM build. So I think for this period of the time you're going to be spending a lot of time looking for gear pieces and trying to swap yourself off Firebirds and onto something else. So I'm going to give the Wizard 8 out of 10. So tallying up the scores, in last place, I'm sure you've probably guessed, it's going to be the Wizard. Wizard gets 7th place with a score of 20. I think it's going to be the slowest start for the season. Now don't get me wrong, all the sets are really strong this season, but if you're comparing them against each other, I'd say this one's going to be back at the pile. 6th, as much as it pains me to say, is Barbarian. I think Might of the Earth, whilst it's very powerful, is also a little bit slow, and I just think that it's going to suffer a little bit getting keys. But I might be wrong, there might be some builds out there. As I say, it's just an opinion. 5th with a score of 22 is the Crusader. Again, Invokers is very powerful, but again, it really aren't kind of the speed options there. LON, if you get that set up, could be really strong for the Crusader very quickly, but you are relying on RNG a little bit. Monk, I'm going to give 4th spot to. Samwuku, by the time you get to the end, it's really strong build, it is really quick, and by this point you're going to be pulling away from other classes, but the RNG aspect of it I just think means that your start's going to be a little slower, particularly early game anyway. Necromancer is going to get 3rd spot, because I think the LON season buff is really going to help out, and it's going to be interesting to see how quickly can you get your gear, how quickly can you get it set up. But I do think it will be quick. So many multipliers, and the LON multiplier 750 per ancient item is really strong for the Necro. 2nd, we're going to go Witchdoctor. This gets a score of 27, so pretty good for the Jade Witchdoctor. Definitely be worthwhile starting out with, particularly if you're thinking of playing Necro. It could be a good option to just go Witchdoctor, get your season journey done, and then switch over to Necro and just basically save all your intelligence gear and ancient items that you get. So that's certainly a strategy you could use. And the winner, the fastest start in my opinion, is going to be the Demon Hunter. The Shadow 2-piece is ridiculously strong, the set itself is very strong, and you'll be tackling high level content, I think the fastest with this class. So there is an argument to start with this class and then pull a switch onto whichever one you want to play afterwards, but that depends on your game time, it depends how many classes you want to rank up in the season. Now personally, I am going to play Necromancer. I like the thought of finding the LON items, the ancient items as we go, I think it means that I'm going to be inspecting my gear very hopefully every time I get a drop early doors, and I think that's quite a nice feeling. That's something that I want to experience, and I want to get the most out of the season theme, and I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that. But if it was just for efficiency, I would definitely pick the Demon Hunter, because it seems to be the clear winner for me out of all 7 classes. So there we go, guys. That's my opinion. Do any of you disagree? Do you think I'm doing any of the classes a disservice? Are you excited for the season theme? You know, let me know. If you found this video interesting, if you found it helpful, preferably you found it both, but either of them, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. It really does mean the world to me. Greatly appreciated. And I will catch you in the next video. Peace.